Спасибо, Анти, thank you, Анти. Анти, спасибо огромное не только за этот стрим, но и за подготовку этой встречи. Это очень важно. Мы последний раз встречались с Анти в Сент-Эмье в 2023 году, где ты провел прекрасный memorial meeting, и там были сотни людей. So we met with Anti last time there in Saint-Emilion, where there was a very big meeting of anti-anarchist and libertarian activists from the whole Europe and America and various places in the world. And there were about, several thousand people, and Anti and some other comrades arranged very good memorial meeting. There were hundreds of comrades from various places. Там в Сент-Эмье Анти организовал очень многолюдную встречу памяти погибших в Украине добровольцев, и там были сотни людей, а всего в Сент-Эмье тогда приехало в районе 6 тысяч человек, что много. And I was really very surprised by the amount of the people who arrived to Saint-Emilion, because I really was I doubted that so many people were capable to come up. Потому что я сомневался, что так много людей приедет. I will represent myself again. I'm Dmitry Petrov. I'm the author of this book. I'm a father of the main hero of this book, and you see this main hero here. Я Дмитрий Петров, я автор этой книги, и я отец главного героя этой книги, и главного героя вы видите на этой фотографии. But there is no actually only one main hero, because this book is dedicated to the all Russian, Ukrainian, international, like American, Irish, German, Dutch, Australian, and other guys who came to Ukraine to defend freedom. What I meant was that there are hundreds and hundreds of the people who came there not just to defend Ukraine as a state, who came there not to defend the Ukraine as a government. No, they're not defending this Ukrainian government or Ukrainian capital. I mean business capital. They are there to defend freedom, to defend the world, to defend the liberty and the values we all share. А я хочу подчеркнуть, что люди, которым посвящена эта книга, посвящена она не только моему сыну, это сотни добровольцев, которые приехали в Украину защищать не Банковую улицу и не украинское правительство. Они приехали туда защищать свободу, защищать мир, защищать все эти ценности, которые мы разделяем. So, the name of this guy, who's about 16 years old on this picture, his name is Dmitry Petrov also, Dmitry Petrov Junior, and when he was 16, he was a student of Moscow State University. На этой фотографии Дмитрию Петрову-младшему 16 лет, и он на ней студент Московского университета. Well, actually, he successfully graduated Moscow State, and then he got his PhD in history and anthropology. Он успешно закончил университет, и он получил степень кандидата, если по-русски это называть, в области антропологии и истории. So here he is in Ukrainian Crimea, on the with this great sea as a background around the peaceful world, looking somewhere with the smile in his eyes as I get it. Click. Thanks. And here you see the same smile in the eyes. I love this picture for this smile. All his face is covered with this mask, but look at the eyes. Да, в этих глазах я вижу такую же улыбку, как улыбку в глазах, которая была на предыдущей фотографии. But the situations are very different, and at the first picture we see him shot, in a very peaceful and nice environment, and this is the environment really like something like maybe 100 kilometers from the front line. Да, улыбка, смех в глазах есть на обеих снимках, но ситуация принципиально разная. На первом мы видим его среди очень мирной атмосферы, мирной обстановки, а здесь он буквально в 100 или 200 километрах от фронта. Клик. And all this happened, the second picture was shot, I think, in August or September 2022. Вторая фотография была сделана в августе или сентябре 22 года. That was the time when we haven't seen him for more than 2 years. И это было время, когда мы его не видели уже больше, чем 2 года. So we wanted to meet with him. Actually, we met with him before a couple of times in various places, like Exarchia in Athens, or in Paris, or somewhere else, or in Georgia, Tbilisi, or in many places, but still we stood apart, very far from each other, and sometimes we haven't seen him for more than a year, and it was really terrible, because like parents, we really could hardly stand it. И бывало, что мы встречались, конечно, в разных местах, в Афинах, в Экзархии, в Париже, в Грузии, в разных других местах, но обычно часто мы не видели его больше, чем год или полтора, и для нас, как родителей, это было очень тяжело справляться с этой разлукой. Especially it was hard when we know that he's in Kurdistan, because normally we did know where he was, but sometimes he told us, and he always told us when he went somewhere where it was dangerous, like Kurdistan. Он обычно нам не говорил, где он находится, и обычно нам не говорил, куда он отправится. Но он, как правило, говорил нам, когда он отправлялся в сложные и опасные места, как Курдистан. He'd been to Kurdistan twice, and twice he told us that he went there, and we were even online sometimes. But actually, the access was problematic there, access to the internet, but he always found some opportunity to contact us and to say that he's okay. И когда он был в Курдистане, он обычно находил способ найти, дать нам знать о себе, что он в порядке. And the same was when the war in Ukraine started. But still, we almost always were in touch, but actually we didn't know much about what's happening to him exactly. We were following the news, we were following, all the stuff we got in the media, but we were not really into what he was doing. Да, мы, в отличие от Курдистана, ситуация с Россией была такой, что мы были все время, с Украиной была такой, что мы все время были на связи, но мы не знали, что происходит с ним лично. Мы следили за новостями, но не очень понимали, что происходит именно с ним. And then, we couldn't stand it anymore, and we decided to meet. And he said, well, okay, just come down to Kyiv. I don't know what is better to say, to come up or to come down. In English it sounds the same, it means the same, but I would prefer to come up to Kyiv. Нам это надоело, и мы решили с ним встретиться, и он сказал, очень хорошо, приезжайте в Киев. And we settled, and we set a period when we could come. It was February 2023. И мы установили дату, когда мы можем приехать в Киев в феврале 2023 года. So we packed our small things, our small suitcases, and we went to Moldavia, and after that we took this small van and we went to Kyiv. И вот мы приехали в Молдавию, потом мы сели в маленький микроавтобус, поехали в Kyiv. And we passed through this whole route from Moldavian border up to Kyiv main railway station, and it was quite an emotional ride because we felt like probably missile is coming right now to hit our van. You never know there. You are riding up some highway and you don't know what may happen to you in coming minutes. И это было довольно эмоциональное путешествие, потому что ты едешь по шоссе, и ты не знаешь, может в это время ракета уже летит, чтобы попасть прямо в тебя. There he was, there at the railway station where we dropped off. And met with him, and it was pleasure. It was joy. I would say it was happiness. И вот мы все-таки доехали до Киевского вокзала, встретили там его, обняли его, и это было огромное удовольствие, это была большая радость, это было счастье. Yes, it was happiness, and we spent 10 happy days there in Kyiv, walking up and down the streets and squares and blocks of this absolutely magnificent place. И мы провели потрясающих 10 счастливых дней в Киеве, прогуливаясь по городу, по его площадям, улицам и кварталам. We've been to Kyiv before a couple of times, but it was absolutely, totally different experience. Because before we've been there when it was a peaceful city, the city among peace, even when it was after 2014. Of course, there was a war somewhere there in the east of the country, but on the other hand, in Kyiv itself, these sounds of war we couldn't hear them. When you are among, beautiful people walking up and down main streets, you forget about the war happening somewhere in the distance. Мы бывали в Киеве раньше, но это была ситуация даже после 2014 года, ситуация, когда война не чувствовалась. Да, она шла где-то там на востоке страны, но она не чувствовалась в Киеве. Потому что когда вот эти красиво одетые люди ходят по улицам в центре туда и сюда, тебе кажется, что никакой войны нет. And actually the same was when we came in 2023, but there was a huge difference. И, в общем, примерно что-то такое же было в 23-м, но была и большая разница. Because then when it was in 2017, for instance, or in 2020, we did not hear this rocket alarm sounds. Like, wow, 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 wow. It's terrible. That's what would I say. We've been sort of used to it because we've been to various situations before when we heard such sounds. And wherever we were and whenever we were there, it wasn't comfortable at all. And it wasn't comfortable in Kyiv also. And personally, I will tell you, I was scared. Но нам доводилось слышать и раньше звуки воздушной тревоги, но и здесь мы все-таки это было другое. И я честно скажу, что я опасался, что я боялся. And I told him, what we should do? What should we do? What should we do now when it's wow, wow, wow sound around? Maybe now, Russian Kinzhal missile is just going to hit me. Right here on the spot. И может быть сейчас русский кинжал, он летит прямо сюда, чтобы попасть в меня, прямо вот тут. And he said, what do you think about yourself, who you are? Who are you, to be a name for your personal кинжал missile? И он сказал, кто ты такой вообще, за кого ты себя принимаешь, чтобы быть лично целью какого-то, чтобы на тебя лично нацелили ракету кинжал. Actually, I stopped scared. I wasn't scared anymore. No matter that there were no real shelter around, but there was this piano. Там не было никаких рядом убежищ, я перестал бояться. И вот я тут увидел этот рояль. It's a real piano. It's a real piano on one of the Kyiv street, right in the center of the city, but it's set by the parts of Russian Druid. Это рояль, который стоит в центре Киева, настоящий, на нем можно было играть, но вот он сейчас разбит осколками российского дрона. And I don't believe that it will be, repaired anymore. Я не думаю, что его починят. Click. And that's the other street, and the car hit by shrapnel or whatever, and the poster of, promoting the collection of funds for the new cars to be brought to the front line. We know many people in the US, in Britain and Czechia, Czech Libertarian Association raised enough money per year to send 12 cars to Ukraine. And they do it every year for 3 years. So now it's 36 cars they sent from Czechia to Ukraine. Вот здесь вот машина собирают, здесь плакат, что собирают деньги. И вот сейчас, например, Чешская ассоциация либертарная, они собирают достаточно денег, чтобы отправлять 12 машин в год. А всего они отправляют 36 за последние 3 года. And there are many people in the world who do the same. And that's not only cars, it's also, medical equipment, it's food, it's helmets, a lot of things, thousands of items. And look, here you can see the slogan, Free Mariupol Defenders. It was the time when the city of Mariupol was occupied by Russians, and several hundred of defenders were taken as prisoners of war. And that was the time when they were there in Russian camps. So it's the mayor of Kyiv. This house is the mayor of Kyiv, and actually it's appealed to the lots of foreigners who were in Kyiv that time, help to bring these guys home. Да, это мэрия Киева, и вот этот вот плакат, который там обращен, верните, освободите защитников Мариуполя, обращен к иностранцам, которые в Киеве в это время находятся. So this, just let me remind you, we are walking through Kyiv streets, days, evenings, mornings and nights, walking there, talking about freedom, love, philosophy, war, life, death, various things. Напоминаю вам, мы сейчас гуляем по улицам Киева, разговариваем о куче разных вещей о любви, о войне, о философии, о смерти, о жизни и других вещах. And click, please. And well, there are very different cars there in the streets of Kyiv. Some of them are broken by shrapnel, but the others are full of this, red hearts, and people fell in love, and people marry, and people give birth to the kids. The life is continuing. The life can't be stopped. And this contrast between the broken cars and this, very beautiful cabriolet, it gives to the whole situation some very important spice. Вот кроме тех машин разбитых, есть вот такие, вот с красными сердечками, и дети рождаются, и люди влюбляются, и люди женятся, и жизнь продолжается, и все это происходит. И вот этот контраст между вот разбитыми машинами и машинами такими придает всей ситуации совершенно особую специю, придает особый вкус. Следующий. Click, please. Yes, but when you are on the street with such a cabriolet, and when you turn your back to it and look behind you, you see this 5-story building with this poster Mariupol. Но если ты находишься на этой улице, отвернешься от кабриолета и посмотришь назад, то увидишь пятиэтажный дом с надписью Mariupol. Mariupol is with you everywhere. Big and small, it's everywhere with you when you're in Ukraine. Next, please. Well, and then you see this self-made poster on the street. Heroes do not die. I love this. What I love with this poster is this note here. Что я люблю в этом самодельном плакате? Вот это вот нет. Someone took the piece of paper off, but someone just took, I don't know what, but just wrote it there. And it's a very important thing because there in Ukraine, one of the great feelings we got during these walks and discussions, just endless discussions, the feeling we got was that people there really believe that heroes do not die. And this feeling comes to you. And you start step by step, hour by hour, you start feeling and believing that that's true. И вот эта вера, которую ты чувствуешь в этом городе, что люди верят, что герои не умирают, и эта вера шажок за шажком, час за часом, она входит в тебя, и ты тоже начинаешь в это верить. Click, please. Okay, click back, please. Back. Okay, thank you. So I'll remind you that this is February 2023. But what happened in this period between February 22 and February 23? What happened in the life of my son through these 2 years? Through this year? A year is a long term. And we asked him about that, and he told, well, through all this year, I worked as a volunteer. И мы спросили, а что ж ты делал вот весь этот год? Все-таки это целый год между февралем 22 года и февралем 23 года. Что ж ты делал все это время? И он сказал, я был волонтером. Okay, it's very fine to be a volunteer. It's fine. It sounds very good for your relatives for your parents, for your friends who live somewhere far away and cannot check with that. Но, конечно, это очень хорошо быть волонтером. Это очень хорошо звучит для твоих родственников, для твоих близких, для твоих родителей, которые где-то там далеко и не могут проверить, а что ты, собственно, делаешь. So, well, he was right. And we lived at that time, like, believing that he was a volunteer. And some very nice bright morning, I was sitting in the armchair with the sea, looking at the sea, very nice sea, blue sky, green trees, mandarins, birds everywhere. 8 a.m. And I got a call from my friend from Geneva, and he asked, how are you doing? И вот я сидел как-то утром, вот такой спокойный родитель, сидел, смотрел на море, кругом были зеленые деревья, синее море, синее небо, птицы пели. Я в 8 часов утра сидел там, это spring morning, это утреннее, весеннее утро. Я получил телефон из Женевы, и мой друг спросил меня, ты как вообще, как твои дела? And I answered, well, I'm very fine. I'm very fine. We're waiting for you here. Please come down, and we will celebrate and have a lot of good time. Я ему ответил, ну довольно, нам здесь очень хорошо, у нас все в порядке, мы ждем, когда ты приедешь, и мы у нас будет прекрасно проведем время. And he said, well, look, now I will send this SMS to you. And I received the SMS, and there were several words, and, ну, и он сказал, ну хорошо, давай я сейчас тебе смс пошлю. И он послал мне смс, и там было несколько слов, and the meaning of these words was, you know, that Dmitry Petrov младший and Dmitry Petrov Junior and his comrades were killed defending the city of Bakhmut. И там было написано, что Дмитрий Петров-младший и несколько его товарищей погибли, защищая город Бахмут. I tried a lot of times to describe my feelings, just talking to the people, because that's not, of course, the first time I delivered such a presentation. I delivered it maybe 20 times before in many places in Europe, and not only in Europe. And every time I tried to find some words and some way to share the feelings I got that time. So sometimes people ask about that. Я несколько раз пытался описать вот так вот лично людям, что я испытывал в этот момент и потом. Потому что это не первая встреча такая, пожалуй, 20 раз уже в разных местах я показывал книжку. И, but each time I failed. Каждый раз у меня ничего не получалось. Each time I failed, and when I asked myself why, well, I got the answer. Because I cannot describe these feelings to myself in proper words. It's a very specific situation when you are not capable just of describing your personal feelings to yourself. You do not have proper words. И я спросил себя, почему я не могу людям рассказать? Потому что люди иногда спрашивают, а потом я нашел ответ, потому что я не могу этого описать себе в нормальных словах. But what happened? I found, just miraculously, I found a way to describe it in the book. I know it because, you know, Russian writer Dmitry Petrov, I know him personally, so I sent him a book. I sent it to several Russian writers I like and trust to. And he wrote me a letter. And he said, well, I cannot judge this book. The only thing I want to write to you is that you did something a person cannot do. Он написал мне в ответ, что он не может эту книгу никак оценить. Единственная вещь, которую он может написать, это что я сделал вещь, которую человек не может сделать. He wrote to me, you did something the person cannot do. Just writing about himself. Он писал, ты сделал нечто, что не может сделать человек, когда пишет про себя. And several even better words, you know, but it's very personal. И несколько еще более приятных, хороших слов, которые, ну, да, это личные. And you know, he knows something about the literature. He's a very experienced man. He is a professor of Russian literature. He knows these things. So I trust him. Because when I read this book, I read it to myself also. Not only to other people. I read it to myself. Like that's not me who wrote it. It's like someone else did that. And I feel like, you know, well, someone else wrote about me, and and everything is more or less, right, more or less right. Ну вот, и когда я читаю эту книгу, когда я читаю людям, то я читаю ее себе, и это читаю ее так, что кажется, что кто-то другой ее написал про меня и более-менее правильно все написал. Well, when the first hit is over, it's like on the boxer ring. You got a hit to your head, then the next one comes, the next one comes, then someone hits you with the foot, you fell down, and you then recover. You start to recover. Это как в боксе на ринге. Тебя бьют, потом ногой, значит, в лоб, бац, ты потом приходишь в себя. И я приходил в себя. And when you recover to some extent, you start acting. И когда ты приходишь в себя до какого-то состояния, ты начинаешь действовать. And then we decided to go to Ukraine again. And we went to Ukraine in May 2023 and spent 2 months there. And there I understood that I have to continue writing this book. The thing is that when we've been there to Kyiv in February, I was so happy that I decided to write very nice, positive, kind, and even funny book about this joy we got together in the city overwhelmed by the war. И я решил, когда мы второй раз поехали в Киев, что я должен написать все-таки книгу. Дело в том, что я начал ее писать еще в феврале, потому что я очень хотел написать о счастье, которое мы испытывали в это время. Of course, after April, it was April 19, 2023, when I got this call from Geneva. And this guy, he got a call from Vilnius, and the guy in Vilnius got it from Lviv, and the girl in Lviv got the call from Kyiv. It was this way. So I decided that I have to finish the book, but of course it should be the different book. Я решил тогда, что я книгу обязательно все-таки должен написать, и книга это только книга это будет другое. It wouldn't be so nice, kind, and funny. Actually, there are certain funny pages. I didn't cancel the text I wrote before. It wouldn't be right. Но там есть, действительно, там остались какие-то веселые страницы, потому что я решил не отменять это все, я решил продолжить. I decided to continue all this. But what happened? Why did I decide to do that? I decided to do that because we met great people there, just hundreds of amazing, wonderful people who used to know our son there in Kyiv, and they're on the front line. Some of them were military, some of them were not. Some of them were libertarian activists, some of them were not. Well, just a lot of various people, but all of them were absolutely amazing, very kind and full of love. Но почему же все-таки я решил написать книжку? Потому что там в Киеве мы встретили огромное количество людей. Кто-то из них был активистом либертарным, кто-то не был, кто-то был военным, кто-то не был. Но все они были совершенно потрясающие, они знали нашего сына, они рассказывали нам удивительные вещи. They talked us about things we haven't ever known. Они говорили нам вещи, которые мы никогда раньше не знали. Click, please. For instance, they told us that on February 26 or 27, 2022, Dima and his friends started the anti-authoritarian unit. Here in this picture you see just a group, just a part of this unit. It was much bigger. They stood next to the wall of their base, some 100 kilometers from Kyiv. You see that they all are armed on this picture, and you cannot see their faces, and you understand why. Но вот на этой фотографии небольшая группа из этого антиавторитарного отряда, который они создали в первые числа после начала войны. Их лица закрыты, они все вооружены, and you see this black banner of freedom they hold, and because this was the banner of their unit. Their idea, the moving force leading them, was to establish an autonomous, free, not very dependent of Ukrainian government unit, defending their values, defending the ideas of anti-etatism and anti-authoritarianism, and pursuing the great goal of holy anarchy. Их идея состояла в том, чтобы создать отряд, который бы мало подчинялся киевскому правительству, а защищал бы великие ценности свободы, автономной личности и святой анархии. So, that's what they did. Click, please. And they passed through very important and very serious training. And but this is frontline. Okay, let it be frontline. Okay, I know this guy. Maybe some of you recognize him. His name is Alexey. It is Alexey Makarov. Well, and he was a part of this unit that time, and you can see him in the trench. And I met with him last year in Italy, and he had, some iron things in his hand. He was recovering after a very heavy wound, and I put bondage on his hand every day, and I felt so proud because I felt like I also can participate somehow in something. Это Alexey Makarov. Very well. Well, he talked about himself like about the football hooligan, but he's very well educated and very, very polite and full of taste. Да, он это человек, который называет себя футбольным хулиганом, но который очень хорошо образован, очень вежлив и имеет прекрасный вкус. So, and when I asked him before, I wrote a letter to him and asked him. I made an interview with him for some media. And there was a question, why have you decided to join this unit? And he wrote to me, my motivation was the torture my friends in Russia have been passing through. Я его спросил, а что тебя заставило взять оружие и пойти в этот отряд? Я делал с ним интервью там заранее, до одного издания, и он сказал, моей главной мотивацией было то, что моих друзей пытают в России. Click. Yes, and if you look at the cover this way, you will see this picture actually. So this is our family portrait taken in Paris right before the war, and this is a background for our joyful reunion. So normally I read the book. Very often I read the book, but now I cannot do that because it's in Russian, and those who speak English would never understand it. But so now I will pass from this picture to this picture. Actually, of course, he was not alone. there during this battle, during this mission, when people said that time he was killed. Конечно, он был не один на этой миссии, в которой, как тогда нам говорили люди, он был убит. No, he wasn't alone. It was the whole unit, not this exactly, not exactly this unit, different unit, but there were two non-anarchist activists with him. Kyiv, the Irishman from the small island in Irish Sea, and this American boy, Andrew Cooper, with the call name Harris, from Detroit, the United States, former Marine. I'm in touch with their moms and the sister of Chia. They met with Chia in Kurdistan, and then Andrew, as far as I know, joined the anti-authoritarian unit a little bit later. And when we finished our meetings there in Kyiv, because we couldn't stay there for a long time. We just collected information, we got necessary documents, we met with the people, we arranged certain commemoration events, we did this and that, but we couldn't spend, the rest of our life there, and we decided to leave. And since that time, people started to invite us to different events. We found out that he was very well known not only in Ukraine, but all around Europe. Мы обнаружили, когда поставили Киев, потому что мы не могли там находиться постоянно, мы там собрали документы, мы повстречались с людьми, и когда мы уехали из Киева, мы обнаружили, что его хорошо знали не только в Украине, а везде в Европе. И везде, wherever we came, we participated in events with, the posters like this. This is Galicia, so I mean it's in Spain, some event in Spain. Куда бы мы ни приехали, мы везде видели плакаты с Лешем, с Димой Лешем и с Chia и Купером. This is Odessa, Ukraine. This mural is right on the way to Odessa Opera Theater. Next, please. And this is Kyiv. Next, please. And this is Bern. I love this mural very much because of two reasons. One reason is these feet. So it gives you a vision how big this mural is. And the second thing is this quotation from his last letter. He left a letter before he went to the front line. He left a letter to his friends and asked them to share this letter if something would happen to him. So good people from America translated it into English, and I will read now two quotes from it. This is a short one, a very short one, but I will read two quotes with longer, and one of them will include this one. Сейчас я прочитаю два фрагмента его последнего письма, которые он оставил перед тем, как отправиться на фронт. Они будут длиннее, чем вот эта маленькая, но эта маленькая – это часть одного из них. As an anarchist, revolutionary and Russian, and I found it necessary to take part in the armed resistance of the Ukrainian people against Putin occupiers. I did this for justice, for defense of the Ukrainian society, and for liberation of my country, Russia, from oppression, for the sake of all the people who are deprived of their dignity and the opportunity to breathe freely by the vile totalitarian system created in Russia and Belarus. Как анархист, революционер и русский, я считаю важным принять участие в защите украинского народа от путинской агрессии. Я делаю это ради справедливости, для того, чтобы защитить украинское общество и освободить мою страну, Россию, от угнетения. Во имя людей, которые сейчас угнетаются и чье достоинство попрано жестокой тоталитарной системой, в которой они не могут дышать свободно. Эта система создана в России и Беларуси. And the next quote. It was not just individual decision and step. It was a continuation of our collective strategy aimed at creating sustainable structures and guerrilla combat confrontation with the tyrannical regimes in our region. Это не было мое индивидуальное решение и личный шаг. Это было продолжение нашей коллективной стратегии, направленной на создание устойчивых структур и боевых партизанских подразделений, способных свергнуть тоталитарные режимы в нашем регионе. When he wrote our region, of course, he meant Belarus and Russia. So, well, these great guys in Switzerland who draw this absolutely outstanding mural, they, of course, read this letter and used a part of it and thank them. I really highly appreciate their participation. Next, please. So, well, this also burned. This is a tombstone on the grave of the great Russian philosopher Mikhail Bakhmut on one of the cemeteries. But the time when pictures have been taken are different. This is 2023. This is 2025. Every month, comrades come to this tombstone and put the portraits of the boys nearby. Every month they change it. Because weather there is not, well, it is not too warm all the time. There are rain, snow, winds and everything. So when something wrong happens with this picture, they change them. And it really warms my heart. Because I know that, well, while I'm here with you, or when I'm somewhere in Lithuania or Germany or France or in Georgia, someone will change the picture here, and it is very important. Click, please. Yes, and this is a poster also made by Swiss comrades. And most of the people here are participants of the war, anti-anarchist activists, except only one person, except this guy, who blew himself up in Russian political police headquarters in Arkhangelsk several years ago. And 2 days ago there was a date when he did it. But now there is obvious necessity to make much more posters like this, because we got this whole list of the people added to this amount of the boys and girls here. Да, вот только один человек здесь, это не участие в войне в Украине, это вот этот парень, который взорвал себя в Архангельском КГБ, ФСБ, простите. Вот, но сейчас уже надо сделать намного больше таких плакатов. So now we need more posters like this, and I believe that they will do that. Please click. Because this is war, and this is life, and this is death, and people come and people go, And this is a great guy from Kyiv whose name is Putin, Serежа Putin. He was, friend of the animals and very nice and tender personality. He was shot on the front line. He was anarchist activist. Это Сережа Пухтин, защитник животных, очень тонкая натура, он погиб на фронте. Next, please. And this is Pirate, he's from Russia. He's a Russian boy. He also was killed on the front line. He was a Marine. Next, please. And I love this Yura. He was a great commander. He was shot down from the tank when they liberated the Kharkov region. And next, please. And this is a guy whose name, he's Ukrainian guy from Lviv. I forgot his whole name. Well, but he was very, very young, very, very young guy. He was maybe 19 years old. Next, please. Well, and this is David Chichkan, the great artist, absolutely great artist. His father was artist, his grandfather was the artist. He's just extremely talented boy. Вот это вот я перечислил разных ребят, которые вот они погибли. Все они погибли, про них, про всех известно, что они погибли. Это Давид Чичкан, удивительный художник. When his wife gave birth to the kid, he was at the front line and he got a permission to come to Kyiv and to see his kid. Когда его жена родила ребенка, он был на фронте, его отпустили с фронта, чтобы он мог приехать и повидать ребенка. He saw the kid and then he returned to the front line and he was killed defending the freedom. And there are many, many, many folks sharing our common values, sharing our common goals, sharing our own ideas, sharing the ideas we do share. And, now, of course, we must, and I will keep silent for a minute to commemorate them because they are. Thank you. And of course, not only our comrades, because there are a lot of other boys and girls doing the same. Maybe they have different ideas. Maybe they do not have, so high ideas at all. But they got this great feeling of defending freedom. And it's something that, that gives me new beliefs and new hopes. И, конечно, мы чтим не только наших товарищей, но мы чтим и всех других, которые, может, у них не было особо высоких идей, но может, вообще никаких не было идей, но они сражаются за свободу, и это значит, что есть надежда. Есть надежда. Click, please. Yes, and now we are turn back. Unfortunately, I don't have the self-made book to show you because we spent them all. Next small amount of them is waiting for us in Vilnius, Lithuania. But it's a very specific story. I don't know why, but publisher was very late with publishing this book. We had one date in our agreement and they postponed the publication for quite a longer time. And then we arrived to Vilnius to represent the book, but we didn't have it. And then just immediately our friend said, well, don't worry, we produced a book for you. Мы приехали в Вильнюс, чтобы представить эту книгу, но книга задерживали с публикацией, и нам нечего было показать. И тут одни ребята, которых мы знали, And you know this, guys. Ты знаешь этих? Ты знаешь? Да. Они сказали, а мы сделали книгу для вас. And they paid the money and they printed self-made book with the pictures inside, pictures of the absolutely outstanding Ukrainian girl who is the daughter of a woman who was a cook on the base where this anti-authoritarian unit have been passing through training. Вот и эта книга, в нее вошли иллюстрации, которые нарисовала девушка чудесная, дочка повара, женщины-повара, которая кормила их на базе, вот этот весь отряд, который я уже показывал. And this is a very special story about this particular picture. Есть одна маленькая особая история про эту картинку. When my son Dima Leshy was 5 years old, we went walking to the wood. Afterwards, after 10 or 15 years, we went tramping, but it was different. He was 5 years old, and we went to the wood. And we have this small cabin in the wood, and some of you even visited it. I know some people here who've been there. I know you guys. I know you. I recognize you. So, when he was 5 years old, we went there to the wood, and he ran from me to some trees, and he hugged the trees, and he stood there hugging the trees for a while. И мы ходили гулять в лес, когда ему было 5 лет. Некоторые из вас знают этот лес. И он отбегал от меня, обнимал деревья, и так стоял. He was standing there hugging the trees for some while, and then he ran back to me and he hugged my legs and stood like this for a while also. И потом он отбегал от деревьев, он обнимал мои ноги и так стоял. And asked him, what's happening, what's it all about? Я спросил его, а что это такое, что происходит? And he told me, well, I hug the trees and I talk to the trees and trees talk to me. Do they talk to you? And he answered, yes, what a problem. И он говорит, я бегу, обнимаю дерево, я с ними разговариваю, я им что-то говорю, они говорят мне. Я говорю, они говорят тебе? Он говорит, да, что такого, собственно, в чем проблема? And I said, what do they say to you? What do they tell you? And he said, oh, well, this is a secret. We agreed, we have a secret agreement that I would never tell anyone what they do saying to me. И он сказал, это секрет, я никогда обещал им, что я никогда никому не скажу, что они мне говорят. Я сказал, okay. He never told me what trees told him at that time, but I believe that trees, because he's Leshy, and you know what Leshy means in Russian folklore tradition. Вы знаете, да, что значит Leshy в русской фольклорной традиции. I will tell for those who are not deep into Russian folklore that Leshy, according to Russian mythology, well, to Slavic mythology, it's a specific legendary creature living in the wood and defending the wood from evil, or helping those good people who come to the wood and when something wrong happens to them. It's very briefly. Leshy is a very interesting creature. There is a lot of things about Leshys, male or female Leshys, no matter. But well, if you decide to know more, you easily find it. So and I told this story to this artist. Я рассказал эту историю этой девочке-художнику, и она нарисовала, and she wrote this illustration, and she wrote this illustration. Also, I think that, these books here and these books here, they address us to the science when he got his PhD, and I think that this machine gun there address us to Kurdistan. Next, please. And then, well, sure, this is war. And this is, this is an illustration for one very specific part of the book, which I cannot read. Normally I read it, but I cannot read it now because those who do not speak Russian won't understand that. And it is very important to understand it. It's, it's an illustration to a part of the book when I see I have a dream that I'm passing through the world in the night and see the very, very small dot of fire somewhere, just in maybe half a kilometer in the darkness, and I'm passing the path there and see Dima, see Leshy sitting there at the fire, and we have some conversation about love and a lot of it's a very brief conversation because the morning is very close and it's time for us to separate again. And he asks, during this conversation, please come in the night, not in the morning, because I have a lot of things to do through the day. I am Leshy now in our world. И там есть вот эпизод, когда я иду сквозь лес, вижу маленький огонь, и там сидит он, и мы общаемся, и он говорит: слушай, очень короткий у нас разговор, потому что надо, чтобы ты пришел раньше, ночью. Днем у меня очень много дел, потому что я Leshy теперь в нашем лесу. Next, please. Next, please. So actually the cover of the self-made book looks like this. This girl who made these pictures, she is very gifted one. Very gifted. I love her very much. Next, please. Next, please. This is Rotoflora. This is about crisis of the system. We all know about crisis of the system. We all know about anarchism in advance. Next, please. This is also Rotoflora, this place in Hamburg. Next, please. And this is very specific thing. This picture is inside of Rotoflora. This is the flag of YPG. YPG is Kurdish military units fighting jihadists and others, enemies of Kurdish revolutionaries there in the Middle East, and I love this kid. I love this kid. She or he, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but I like actually the flag. This is the flag of Kurdish women's movement in Europe. They invited us to come to the Mother's Day, and there was a lot of women and some men also. And these women were so great, they were so nice, and there were some older ladies sitting a little bit apart with all these white scarves here, and I asked them, who are they? And they said, well, they are mothers of those who are martyrs. And they gave this red, green, and yellow Kurdish scarf to Iran, not the white one, because heroes do not die. Next, please. So, well, this is also, I believe this is Leshy again, and here you see this logo, freedom to the people, death to the empires, and long live revolutionary in Rojava. Rojava is a Kurdish region in Syria, where Dima, I'm not sure about Leshy, but where Dima and Chir visited. Next, please. And this is a mural there in Kurdistan with the portraits of European fighters who fought there, and also Dima here. He looks like a real Middle Eastern person. Well, sometimes he looked this way. Yeah. Next, please. Yeah, and these are the books he wrote about Kurdistan and Kurdish revolution. I love them very much, but they all are in Russian. Next, please. Yes, and please back, make a step back. One step back. Yeah. Yes. We all know that trees were very important for him. Trees. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to translate into Russian. Значит, мы сейчас прошли через несколько слайдов, посвященных Курдистану, в частности, фотографии, где Леша и Дима стоят, держат плакатик «Смерть империи, свободу народу» и «Здравствует революция в Раджаве». Вот это книги, которые он написал про Курдистан или собрал статьи для них. И я сказал, что деревья и растения, trees and various other plants were very important for him. We can see plants, trees here and next one, please. Yes, and suddenly this love to nature, this love to the trees, this love to this life hidden in this mysterious creatures returned to us with this very strange story. И вот эта любовь к деревьям и к жизни, таинственной жизни, которая находится в них, в этих созданиях, она вернулась к нам необычной историей. In Kyiv there are two mountains in Kyiv. I forgot the names of those mountains, but there are two huge mountains with the parks on it. They're quite wild parks, not regular parks. You know, people go there for celebrations or for picnics, or just to have a shot or two. But our friends took us there to the top of one of the mountains, and they had very small plant like this and a bunch of wooden sticks. А наши друзья нас взяли на одну из киевских гор, я не помню, как они называются, и там они садили, с ними был маленький росток и такие вот деревянные штуки. And they put this small plant to the soil, and they surrounded with this. They made of sticks with this. I don't know the English word for it. I forgot. Anyway, they did this all, and it wasn't in winter, of course. It was in the summer. It was in June 2023. But still, the plant is so small, and this is the autumn 2023. So the plant was so small that it's still very small. You can even see it. But it passed through terrible summer of 2023, extremely hot summer, and a lot of people were involved in saving this small tree. Они посадили это маленькое деревце, оно такое маленькое, что даже здесь его не видно. Но оно здесь же уже живет полгода, потому что посадили его в июне, 4 месяца. В июне, а это 23-го, а это осень 23-го. И оно пережило страшное лето 23-го года, когда была безумная жара, и люди его спасали. So they washed it, and they watered it, they made a roof, and then they took a roof in the night. So many people worked to save this small tree. Next, please. And they saved it. And this is the same tree, and this is autumn 2024. So it appeared that it's an oak tree. Потом оказалось, что это дубок. И он пережил, он осень 24-го года. And this is autumn this year. А это осень этого года. And these stripes here, ribbons, I'm sorry, these ribbons there, they were projected by David Chichkan. I showed you his picture, this artist. And these multicolor ribbons are a part of his art. I don't have his pictures in the slideshow, but we decided that this plant is very high now, but it's very thin. And we got afraid that the wind on the top of the mountain may crush it. And we decided, to use these ribbons to make it stand still, not to fall. And as our Kyiv friends write and say to us that everything is okay with the tree now, so we believe that very soon we will be in Kyiv and we will see the tree. And also и вот наши друзья, которые живут в Киеве, сказали, что потому что они укрепили деревцем вот этими вот разноцветными ленточками, которые являются частью искусства Давида Чичкана, вот оно стоит сейчас твердо, потому что мы боялись, что ветер может его сбить, потому что оно такое очень высокое стало, но очень тонкое. Поэтому его надо было укрепить. So we think that soon when we come to Kyiv again, when we will see the tree, but also we think that someday we'll see our son. Еще мы верим, что не только мы увидим дерево, что когда-то мы увидим и нашего сына. Because Ukrainian military authorities told us that they do not suggest him and his comrades as killed at the battlefield. They should suggest them missed at the battlefield. То есть there is a very big difference. Украинские военные власти сказали нам, что они не считают ребят убитыми на миссии, они считают их пропавшими без вести на поле боя. А разница очень большая. No one have ever seen their bodies, nobody have ever seen their remains after this mission. What was the mission we don't know, because Ukrainian military say that it was a secret mission and they are not allowed to discover discover what happened. Да, и они настаивают, что они пропали без вести, но когда мы задаем вопрос, а что же это была за миссия, что это был за бой, они говорят, что это была секретная миссия, и что им нельзя раскрывать этот секрет. So, well, I wouldn't say that we do care much about what military say. Я не могу сказать, что мы очень сильно заботимся о том, что говорят военные. But, there is a custom in our family that we always use present tenses when we talk about all these three causes. I'm in permanent touch with Cheer's sister. I receive letters and write letters to Cooper's mom, who lives in Detroit, and we never use the past tenses talking about them. Next, please. So, well, that's how the things go, and that's what this book is about, and much more. I'm very glad to represent this book to you. I'm very glad to see here people who really is acquainted with our son. At least 4 people here who know him. And it's a great pleasure to see you. I'm happy to see you. It's outstanding thing. So, and I think that it's normal for each family that when children follow the parents in their life, and I think that to some extent because I, for many years have been involved with the non-anarchist movement in Russia since the 80s, since the first anti-anarchist underground circles were established in Moscow. So I think that very possibly, Leshy has been following me and is following me now, but what is much more important now, that now we are following him. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's extremely important for us. Thank you. And please accept our deepest gratitude to you, comrades. If I only could, I would present the book to each of you, but still we don't have this book in English. So what? And another thing that we have only 3 copies with us now. So the problem for me was always what to do. But we will decide with Matthew how we solve this. I'm very sorry. Yes, and still now, yes, once again, I highly appreciate your participation, and I believe that you may come up with some comments, and let me solicit your questions, let me solicit your ideas. Let us share all this like we must share everything. Thank you. Да, я сказал, что я очень признателен за то, что все пришли и что мы можем делиться теперь нашими мыслями, комментариями, вопросами. Yes, and of course, we have a stream, so I will take some pictures from there, because we are going to complete our work on our portfolio to present it to the potential donors, because we need to travel a lot, but we, of course, actually we do not have money at all. That is why we are so grateful to the groups who covered some parts of our trip, and I think that that's a great help. So we will decide. Actually, we have 3 books, and I think that will be someday when everyone will have the book in, maybe that even in Finnish language, if something happens and we got this translation. So ask your questions, come up with the comments, let's discuss. I do not have questions actually to you. The only thing is, it's strange to ask you the question to the readers who have not read the book. So it's better if you ask me.
Вот у нас начало